All my life, I've been waiting for someone, and when I find her, she's a fish.
When I'm done with you, my mom's gonna pick me up and take me home.
Over here, pile of rocks waving at you. Here. Yeah, I'm actually a thing. I'm a being. Nah, nothing makes sense here, man. The only thing that does make sense is that nothing makes sense.
It's that music, so it means it's that time. Once again, we're going to do the barbecue show with Jake and Stunt Monkey. Love having these cats on the program. Just enjoy that tune. Oh, it's great music.
It's a good tune.
Appreciate you guys being on the show. Just so folks know, because I try to do a deep dive into this, the barbecue show. When you type that into Google, does it go right to where I need to go? Where do I find you guys? And how do I drop down? Because some people spell barbecue, BBQ show, or is it BAR-BQ show?
The BBQ show.
All right.
Right.
I'm all choked up just thinking about it now.
Yeah, we're on your favorite podcast platforms and on social media as the BBQ show. And as you say, we say it is the barbecue show. We just don't know how to spell barbecue.
Yeah, we're not that.
Got it. Fair enough. BBQ show. I liked it, and it works. I just want people to find it, is all I'm saying. Because I typed in the barbecue show, and it had some rehab guy. I don't know who it was. Scared the bejesus out of me. This person was scary, and it wasn't you two. So that's how I knew I spelled it wrong. All right, so just get people where we got to go. You guys have been doing it for quite some time. I will tell you probably not the. I don't want to rank it. The one with your wives, one of my favorites. Okay, so all right. I know it wasn't like a lot of tippy stuff, but the one with the wives you did last week was seriously fun stuff. Made me want to think. Go ahead.
It's become an annual event to have the wives in.
Yeah.
Our plan originally, full disclosure, like inside baseball kind of talk here, Al.
Mm-hmm.
The idea was we'll get the wives to do the show. We get a weekend off. And it didn't work out.
Yeah.
We're like, wouldn't it be hilarious if the girls just came in and they're like, these two idiots don't know what they're talking about. Let me give you the real straight skinny here.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's actually two of our more difficult guests.
Well, all frank, come on. Now, you guys do this for a living, so, we can fill 18 minutes. Don't worry about it. I don't know that my wife would say, hey, you could sit down when you do 18 minutes and I'm going to go in the other room. I don't think that's something she would care to think she could do. Do you think your wives could pull it off without walking before you run?
If they got out of their own way. They're so reluctant on doing it. Last year, we didn't give enough heads up. This year, technically a full year, they knew they were going to do it again. And we gave them a full 3 weeks of like, we're going to do the show in 3 weeks. And they still didn't have enough prep or anything. But I feel like if they got out of their own way, they could take it,
Okay. You think the same, Jake?
I do. I agree.
Right.
I think that, if they just, you have to believe in yourself. Just believe you can do it. It wouldn't be so bad for us, obviously tongue firmly planted in cheek, except they always point out all year long how we're doing it wrong. So I just assumed that.
That'd be good fill the time.
Anyway, no, it is a lot of fun because it keeps us a little humble, obviously. And it's nice to get that other perspective. One of the things we talk about on this week's show is, I think the specific question I asked both of them was, how often do you, quote unquote, give in? Where you're like, I want to do this lasagna for dinner, but I really know that Jake wants to smoke something out on the patio, so I'll let him do his thing. And
let's talk through that. You're a newly married Stunt. I mean, you haven't been married as long as the rest of us. But how much of your planning of your smoking has to get done weeks in advance or whatever? Obviously, if we're going to have Thanksgiving dinner at our house, that's easy. Okay, what are you going to do? And you figure that out ahead. But next Tuesday, do you know what you're eating next Tuesday? Because you might get a wild hair and want to do something, and she's already got plans. How do you do that currently into your new wedding?
It's one of those things where every week we say we need to plan better. And then every week we go, crap, what should we make up for dinner tonight? And so then I'm running to the store or running to whatever meat market and getting whatever we want to smoke or whatever. And many times we have a freezer full of frozen food because we're going to do this. We try to plan ahead and then we don't do it. And then when it's time to cook, I'm like, I didn't pull that out of the freezer fast enough. Now I have to go buy something new anyway. So it's we don't plan far enough ahead, but usually within a day or two of like, hey, I'm going to do, especially leading into the weekend, I'm going to do a brisket this weekend. If it's going to be like a 12-hour cook or something, I'm letting her know this is what we're doing this weekend. If it's
She-
ribs or something like that, it's more of a last minute thing.
See, but back with that, and I'll throw it at you and then to Jake. If you're going to do a 12-hour smoke, you're also telling the wife, don't plan anything because I'm going to be home for 12 hours. I'm not going to the neighbor's house for a gathering. We're home. Yeah. So you go shopping on your own, hon. I'm watching the brisket. You've cut off communications, other things for 12 hours.
I would say completely shut off communications, and because especially I got a newer smoker a few weeks ago, it's a little bit more trustworthy. So I can run out for a quick 20 minutes. Got to go run to the store, get something really quick. I think I can trust the smoker to do that.
If Stunt sits still for more than 19 minutes at a time, it literally ceases to exist. Like his whole body just shuts down. It's over.
But you get what I'm saying, though, Jake, right? I mean, if you're going to make a major plan, he wants a 12-hour smoke and do this right. The wife has to know because it's like, oh, I thought we were going over to Jill's house and, watch the game or something. You're like, well, cancel that. How do you do it at your home, Jake?
It's basically the same. I mean, it's the same concept. And again, similar because we're all human. I mean, there's nothing more frustrating than when you watch these cooking shows and they're like, well, then I meal prep every Sunday afternoon and I've got all the, yeah, that's great until real life hits and you remember on the way home from dropping a kid off at dance that you forgot to take the thing out of the freezer for the, but it's very similar. And my wife she dictates the meals for the most part. And I'll get, I found a new thing I want to try that you do on the smoker or you do on the flat top or whatever. Or I'll get, I'm prepping meals for the week. Do you want to grill on Friday? Because remember, we got a thing on Saturday, or do you? And so we kind of coordinate, but it's fairly loose. And then usually it's what do you want to grill? And then I'll make a suggestion, and then we'll either pull it from the freezer or, pick it up at the next, grocery store stop. But there has to be a little bit of communication. The difference between Stunt and I think, and this is what makes the show so fun, is he does more of that on his end where he's like, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to pick out this and that, and I'm going to bring it home and I'm going to plan to smoke it on this day. And I'm going to let the wife know that this is what's going on. At my house, my wife says, I picked up this. You're going to do this on Thursday. We're going to cook that.
And how long you been married, Jake?
107 years. No,
yeah. Okay. So I'm just saying, Stunt, look at yourself. This is you in the future. This is how things change. I completely agree. That first year or two, I was involved. Now I'm pretty much, I cook what I'm told. But the thing with the smoker is weather is involved. Now, maybe you guys are so nuts and I don't listen enough. Maybe you are. Weather doesn't matter to you. But if my wife says, wouldn't you like to smoke the pork loin for Thursday? We'll have it for the weekend. And I say, yeah. But then all of a sudden, Tuesday, the weather changes. It's going to be cold or a little wet. And I'm like, I really don't care to go out and do that. I blow the... See, Jake, this is why you're going to ruin it because audience guys, more guys are like me than you. I'm more than willing to stand out there, but if I can't even smoke a cigar while it's happening, then my want to be there is gone. And then all of a sudden we're changing plans. How often if your wife says, Jake, we're doing the loin on Thursday, come heck or high water, you're there doing it Thursday?
Oh, yeah, it's not a problem. It changes your style a little bit. We actually do a couple of shows a year about cold weather grilling, cold weather smoking, different apparatuses and how they need, a different approach depending on the weather. When it comes to the smoke, and we're obviously a little bit ahead of the curve here, if you're going to smoke something on a longer scale, major factors always are weather related, whether it's summer or winter, because heat, outside air temperature, humidity, if you've got rain, if you've got snow, if you've got a lot of wind, all these things factor in year round. So it's just colder. You just need an extra layer if it's, sub-zero.
Yeah.
And, if you go back through the Facebook feeds, you'll find plenty of pictures of me below zero outside on the patio, usually shorts, boots, a jacket.
Yeah. And you will see none of that from me. You're the same way, Stunt? You don't care?
Yeah.
Cold weather, go get me?
The cold weather doesn't bother me at all. And like you said, you have to change how you're doing something, maybe add a blanket to the smoker if you have one of those thermal blankets. The only thing that changes for me that makes me really frustrated is the wind. The way the wind whips around our backyard, that'll change either how I'm going to smoke it like all together. Like, oh, we're not going to use that device. We're going to do this device. Okay. Or someday, it was bad enough 2 Saturdays ago, whenever it was. I was like, I ain't going to deal with that because that's going to affect your smoke all day long.
And to take this to the next step, if you're smoking something in the cold or inclement weather, that's a lot easier than doing something like, say, steaks on charcoal or, breakfast on the flat top because you don't have to be out there that long. You get the thing on the smoker and you keep an eye on it, make sure it's good. You can go stand in the garage and listen to the game on the radio and, write a song like the cold never bothered
That's how
me
I'd like to
anyway.
do it, but the smoker's got to be outside. You can't slide that, into the garage so you're not getting rained on, but you can't do that. So I don't do that with my smoker. I want the smoke out there in the real world. Do you with rain more than cold? I get cold just affects how much heat you got to keep putting into it. But will rain affect it as far as beating down on a smoker? Does it take that doesn't take heat away, does it? Because the heat's inside.
If you get exposed metal and you put water on it, you'll cool.
I get the metal. The metal will be cooler, but isn't that hot air inside that canister still hot?
If you have a can of soda or beer or whatever, and the outside of the liquid inside is cold, and the outside of the can is cold, and then you heat up the outside of the can, the liquid inside is going to heat as well, and vice versa.
Yep.
So it makes sense that way. The heat is not as much of a factor as the humidity because that affects smoke penetration, smoke duration. It also affects how well your heat source is burning and functioning. Pellets burn differently at a different rate and a different temperature than, like, say, LP gas does. Then that's different than, say, wood, which is different than charcoal. And they all burn differently. And if you get too humid, you get too wet of a smoke or too wet of a cook, and that can change your times. It can change your flavor profile, your bark, all of that stuff. It's science, really.
Yeah, I always did good in science.
He lost
Real
him.
good.
You can see him kind of. If you can't see us, folks, his eyes glazed right over there about midway through that.
They all know that because theirs were doing the same. Hopefully, they weren't driving at the time. We'll talk the science of it. We're going to go back to their wives because what I want to know is how much do they do, and could the wives step up? Doing the show is one thing. Could the wives step up and do a big long smoke and make it work? Do they follow along, or is this just their sport? We'll talk about that next. I got him, Jake, Stunt Monkey, the barbecue show. It's the BBQ show. Look him up.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
amongst friends. The Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
It's the barbecue show. Jake and Stunt Monkey. Find them at thebbqshow.com. We're talking about the wives being involved. I would just throw out that I think back when we just had the propane grill, my wife would throw on burgers, go out there and do something like that. I don't think in a real long time. But since we've gotten the Traeger, which maybe a year now, I don't know that she's touched it. It's kind of my jam, and she's okay with me doing it. Would your wives, start with you, Jake, would your wife be able to step up, walk out to the smoker, and just say, I'll take care of this one for the next 8 hours. Don't worry about it, Jake. Go golfing.
Yep,
That's never going to happen.
My wife has,
okay, that was a bad question, but you know what I'm saying.
My wife encourages me to golf all the time. She knows it's my happy place. My wife has no problem with going out and firing up the standard gas grill or the smoker. Sometimes she'll take the preemptive strike of going, I know that if this needs to be on for X amount of time, so I'm going to go preheat the smoker so that when it's ready to go, it's ready to go, because otherwise my husband will forget or he'll get distracted with a squirrel or whatever. The one thing that my wife will not do is she won't mess with the flat top, just because there's typically there's two reasons. One is there's a different process to the flat top. You don't just, like with a gas grill, you just hit the button, turn it on, whoa, you've got heat. With the flat top, a lot of times, because of my patio setup, I get a lot of swirling wind as well. It's dusty, it's dirty, so you want to kind of, I go through a process when I start it up and when I shut it down every time, and she wants nothing to do with that process. So it's kind of to answer your question, yes and no, maybe, depends on.
All right. Well, you've been married for a while. That's why I go with you and I. There's but Stunt, you're relatively newly married. I don't know if she was a barbecue gal before you met her, and that's why love spring eternal, or is she putting up with the barbecuing because it's my fiance, my new husband's thing? Does she barbecue?
She does not. No.
Okay.
She talks about how she used to grill when she lived on her own. She had a propane grill and she loved doing it. But it was a pretty beat up one. So we combined everything. That one hit the curb, and it was part of my. It's a whole other story, but it was part of my what do we call it? Grill.
Your grill rescue operation.
Yeah, my rescue grill operation.
Yeah.
I find grills, fix them up, and hand them off to friends. So we actually gave it to a friend after I fixed it up. But long story short, she asked for another gas grill all the time because she doesn't want to work the flat top as well. She doesn't want to touch the smoker. And so she's like, well, we should get just a propane grill, just make burgers and dogs. I go, that's the Blackstone. And she's like, no, it's not the same. I'm like, okay, well, let's go look for another grill. She goes, no, we have to get rid of one. And then we're done talking about it.
Now the story's done. Okay.
So we're going to get rid of one of the 7 or 8 or how many ever I have now. So that's not a thing.
When push comes to shove, Jake makes fun of his golf game or his hobbies, if you will. I mean, you are feeding the family. You're doing something for Are your spouses glad this is something you do? Is this something they put up with because Jake's obsessed with the grill? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Are they big time behind this? And especially now you're doing radio gigs on it. You're doing podcasts. It's like, barbecue is taking over. You've got 3 grills, as far as I can tell, and then you fix
3.
others.
Yeah, 3. I am at 8.
Oh, good God. Okay, so my question stands even better.
Right.
Are your families okay with your obsession with this?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I would think it was one thing we established in this week's show with the wives is that, excuse me, I think they've learned to embrace it, in that there's a part of it where they can say, hey, on Sunday, I'm going to do a bunch of prep in the house, but all the cooking is going to take place outside, and they're going to handle it. Or and I don't want to speak for Stunt, but okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Let's smoke that pork butt, because we can have pulled pork tonight or tomorrow night, and then we can freeze a bunch of pulled pork to use for other. So there is a part of that process and planning. And I mean, it'd be no different if. Like, for example, this is only a hypothetical example, ladies. If I decided that my new hobby obsession was going to become laundry, I just really love to iron and fold. My wife would be like, yeah, that's great. Go for it. So,
that's a terrible example, because that would never happen ever. But okay, good
I
example.
do all the iron in my house, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
They don't iron anything.
My wife,
does.
Loves wrinkles, apparently. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't wear that out in public. Give me that. I'm going to iron it.
How about you, Stunt? How about the wife?
Yeah, I think she fully supports it. She doesn't support the number of grills I have.
Right.
I think that she'd like me to change a little bit. But the fact that providing for the family, like, we're cooking a meal that's gonna be able to get reused numerous times throughout the week, and go a little deeper in it. I think she sees how much joy I do get out of the process. I really enjoy cooking, having people over to eat food in the backyard, and I think she understands how much I really enjoy that. So she's all about it.
Fair enough, guys. We have run out of time. Somebody tell everybody how we get the barbecue show. They can check this one out. I presume it's on your podcast or somewhere.
Absolutely. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can listen to the BBQ show, the barbecue show, anywhere. Your podcast platforms are also airing on KTOE, KFOW in Owatonna, KSUM in Fairmont, and KRRW in New Ulm.
Congratulations, both you guys. You guys are doing fantastic. I did enjoy the one with the wives. Be sure to check it out. We'll get you guys back here in a couple weeks. Fair enough?
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Jake, Stunt Monkey, the barbecue show, the BBQ show on all your podcast stuff.